So, I want to give you all an update, although it's only been a couple of weeks at this point, an update about me trying to save up to buy a house and stuff. Because I am passively watching prices and trends to figure out a macro scale. I'm trying to use micro scale trends that I can watch over days, weeks, months, and trying to use that to extrapolate a macro scale. Because when trying to look at other people's macro scales, you tend to get a lot of weird variations because they're not always looking at the same things you're looking at, and a lot of them are older. Which, yes, the data is still technically good, but the entire world has been upended 4 or 5 times since 2001, early 2001, which is when most of the data sets I could find were from. So, we could start with the small things that changed, like, 9/11, and go all the way up to the bigger things like a global pandemic. Well, let's ignore that. And just focus on the fact that while trying to extrapolate the data, I found that land prices are... Why are you going so slow, my dude? The land prices are a much better alternative to buying a house, which makes some sense because raw land is theoretically more valuable than your house, but it's a now versus later valuation. Your house has a higher value now than the land does, but the land will have a higher value later because housing is a kind of infinite resource. There is no actual infinite resources, but there is something like 6 billion acres on the planet, and while yes, we can in reality make more, we can only make a certain amount more before we run out of space to make more. I think the total amount we can make is something like 45 to 50 billion acres of land, in addition to the 6 something we already have. But with housing, we specialize in high-rise housing, or we could switch over to specializing in high-rise housing. The proverbial stacks, as they're called in fiction, where it's a one-room box that you could get like the size of a storage container stacked on top of each other up to as much as effectively you can get air pressure and water pressure to. And in theory, there'll be ways around both of those problems later. How true that actually is, kind of hard to guess. Which makes owning a piece of land, in theory, a lot more valuable. But when it's just raw land, a patch of grass, as most of it is, at least here in Texas, you'd have to sink hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars into making it livable. So the choice then becomes, do I want to sink that money in now to get a house, or later to build a house? It's a balancing act that I'm trying to figure out. Unfortunately, I don't specialize in statistics. I specialize in engineering. So it's kind of hard to figure out. Yeah. That's what's been going on with my house update. Thank you for listening, if anyone's even been listening.